Good afternoon, good afternoon. Happy New Year, belated Happy New Year 2023. That's you, that's me. We're glad to be here on the other page, television. My name, Haywood Fennell Sr., and I am so happy to be here today. I didn't know I was going to be in 23, but I'm here with you. And we got a great program today, and I just want to thank our techs for being in place and want to wish them a healthy and prosperous new year in 23 coming up. Get a whole lot of money, maybe even hit the mega bucks or the Powerball, and don't forget me in 23. Oh my goodness, everybody. I'm just so happy to be here today, you know, with all the crises going on in our country and in the world, and we can be so blessed to have this program today to talk about some of the things that I want to share with you, happy moments, struggling moments, triumph moments. I want to talk about our literacy program. We're talking about a desire to teach our children to read and to lead as a result of their learning skills. And you can't learn if you can't read. And now we are coming back into our school days, which started today, as a matter of fact, and they were talking about wearing masks in the schools. It's optional, but they're asking that, you know, students wear masks to school. And then there's some information about the COVID-19 impact on learning for the last 3 years. Now, keep in mind that literacy was already in the laws before COVID-19. And then when COVID-19 came into play and they had to try to meet the challenges of educating our children through this crisis, this health crisis, the interest spiraled even more. And now we are back, not just the lull before the pandemic, but all of that is mixed up. And so we maybe have gone a little further down in the literacy appreciation department. So what we are doing, meaning Triad Veterans League and the Veterans Reading Project, which is a part of that juggernaut, we are now advocating for not boot camps. You know, you had boot camps when you were in the military. That's where you got your training at, and it was called boot camp. We want to do a lead and read book camp starting this summer that will include our leaders or readers, meaning that we can get the so-called leader claimers in our community and maybe some elected officials. I'm not sure about elected officials if it's not Aaron Murphy, who is strong on literacy. Here we have the format for our message board, the Cuda Literacy Enhancement Pilot Project. We have, this project is now in Dominican Republic. We have a Spanish Cuda and the Magic Quilt book. Those children that you see there are in the Dominican Republic. And we have our book down there, and we're supposed to be following up on a writing project. And that might come maybe later on this year, because this is a new year. We got new energy now to get things done, and reading is on the top of our list. Here is a primer book, Cuda and the Magic Quilt. Cuda and the Magic Quilt, this is my first book, self-published, that talks about a little lad, 11 years old, and the cover shows him learning about the quilt. It's his grandmother who knows that he loves to read. And he goes to the South to spend time with her, and he goes to the library. While he's in the library, he meets this young girl, and she's blind, but she's very smart, and she asks his name, and he says, well, my name is Jerome, but my dogs call me Cuda, And she said, oh, that's strange because dogs don't talk, they bark, and why would you allow your friends to call you by an animal term? So what this book does, it talks about the importance of not allowing yourself to be misnamed, meaning that racial slurs, the N-word included, are something that this book talks about, and why we should not allow ourselves to be insensitive to others by using racial and ethnic slurs. So that is the first book that we use in the book camp. It talks about the Underground Railroad. It also talks about freedom and its importance. It talks about the coded quilts that were used when escaping for freedom, all in a 97-page book that has been used in after-school programs. It was evaluated by Generations Incorporated, which is a reading program that the Boston Public School uses to evaluate reading material that they purchase. I'm very proud of this book. It is my first, as I said earlier, self-published book. I have now written 4 other books, and they're all self-published, and the kids like them. And we are working to get these books into a wide range of readers because, look, if you can't read, you can't compete. And if you can't compete, you're going to look for some shortcuts. And those shortcuts might end up with you getting yourself into trouble and end up with a sad story called a Corey. You don't want to do that. You want to learn how to read, and the Veterans Reading Brigade, with the soon-to-be implemented book camp, is going to be helping our young people appreciate reading about themselves and the issues that seem to be confounding us because we don't know our name. Nobody's going to call me out my name, and I'm going to acknowledge it because I know my name. My name does not start with N. My name starts with H. And I was taught that at an early age, that you don't respond to somebody that doesn't know your name. We should not be calling each other by what we are ethnically. They do it all the time. They say it's okay, it's fun, it didn't mean no harm, but that is very harmful when you use a word that was in place to degrade people. How can you take a word that was used to degrade people, and the racial and the multi-ethnic sensitivity has not improved? People are going bananas around here using different ethnic slurs and stuff. So that's what the book is about. I don't want to get all off and, get you confused and then get me confused. I just want to talk about the appreciation of learning how to read and its importance in building character, building the individual, and building our community. Building our community, that's what that is all about. I have a new book that'll be coming out. It's being printed now, called Abele and the People of Jai. I look forward to the summer coming up when we can work with our community organizations on writing programs. This is my cover of my new book coming out, Abele and the People of Jai. It's about an African tribe that cultivated healing herbs, and they get captured and brought to America to be slaves and to grow the healing herbs for a plantation owner. And when the warriors come back from a trade mission, they find out that their people have been captured and taken away in ships, and they decide that they're going to follow these ships and bring their people back. And it's a fantastic story, and I know you're going to like it, but it's not ready yet, but it will be soon printed, and we will let you know here at the station, the Other Page Television, and on our radio program, as well as on social media about our books. We plan to reach out a little more with a strategy that will include collaborating with folks like the Boys and Girls Club, working with the City Council of Boston to get emphasis on reading books from Black authors from the community. because, like I said earlier, the youth that read the book, Cooter and the Magic Book, they all seem to enjoy learning from that book. And it's all about a learning experience, because if you can't read, how could you learn? How could you learn? I did some work, in the prisons. I did an internship in the prisons. And I visit the prisons sometimes to talk to people. And what I found out is that a lot of people can't spell. They don't try to put anything in place that will inspire people while they're incarcerated on the local level. I know that in prison where I was for a time, that we were in that lane of learning, and so the library was a place where you would find me and a lot of other people. But in the local jails, even though Sheriff Thompson bought some books a couple of years ago, and I visited and spoken to some of the young men over there in South Bay, it's not the type of experience that you would come out and know how to read or want to know more about reading. So we got to work on that, because they are part of our community as well. And a community can develop in a stronger way if the people are literate. Not function illiterates, but people that can understand what they've read, discuss it, and want to know more, want to learn more, want to do more. Because you got to want to do this. And learning is a building experience. And that's what we want to do with our book camp. So I'm looking forward to talking more about it, working with our young people, writing with our young people, even come up at the end of the summer with something, a collective of little short stories that they've written, and give them a little award of appreciation through the city council. Because we need to understand that educating our young people is a challenge, not just for the teacher, not just for the parent, but for our community. We can no longer relegate responsibilities to people that we designate, or people say that they can do it and our children come up short. Can't do that. It is a one project, one group of various folks with various skills come together to deal with this issue of literacy. And also, I want to ask you a question. How is it that we here in Boston can have so many different cultures and so many different languages spoken, and we don't have mandatory linguistic language classes for our children? Languages today seem to be barriers to bringing our communities together. I mean, everybody, when they want to speak to their people, and you're present, and if you don't speak what they speak, you're a stranger. And they go automatically into their first language and begin to speak their first language, and you stand there and you don't know what's being said. Then, if you're looking for a job, the application clearly asks you, do you speak a second language? Why did they ask you that question? That should be self-explanatory, and it should be the responsibility of the people that are employing you, or the people that own these stores, to invest in language, make donations to programs that have bilingual education as a priority, because we are a separated community. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, I can try to work my way through my street experiences, picking up a word here, a word there, a group of words, to talk to people that speak Spanish, but I think that should be something that is a part of the learning curriculum for a city like Boston or a city like New York, where people that speak just English don't speak. People come from Africa and other countries, France, speak 3 and 4 languages. And we just stuck on one. That's not having fun. That's not communicating with your neighbor. And I wrote a piece to one of those agencies regarding that, because the federal government makes funding available for programs that have second language offerings for our young people. We need to be mindful of the importance of being fully developed. Take Paul Robeson, Harlem Renaissance patriot, spoke 6 or 7 languages. Marian Anderson spoke 3 or 4 languages, was able to communicate with the people in the countries that she was visiting or where he was visiting. We go to a country where, let's say, French is and we can't speak French, so we're at their mercy. We don't know what they're talking about. Or we go to a bodega in Boston and they speak in Spanish and you speak in English, somebody's going to lose in that deal. Just something to think about, folks. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with learning. There's nothing wrong with reading a Spanish book. Do you know any Spanish authors? Do you know any French authors? I know one French author, Alexandre Dumas, who wrote The Three Musketeers in French, but he was from Haiti. The Count of Monte Cristo, Alexandre Dumas. But I didn't read it in French, but I know he wrote that book. I would like to read, I read Dr. Zhivago, Russian author. We don't give that to our kids. Our kids don't read enough. They take hip-hop, and that's cool, and they verbalize in hip-hop, but it's not about our history. It's slang, slurs, and now some of them say, oh, we don't want to do that no more. After they have made millions of dollars of using all kind of vulgar language and everything, expressing anger, but nothing of intellectual value. Folks, support the Veterans Reading Brigade. Support our efforts at teaching people the importance of literacy when we ask you to do that. Because things are very serious now. Our children can't read. They can't read. This pandemic has thrown a curve in there, and we are not going to give up. I'm going to continue to write. I'm going to continue to be grateful. I'm not going to look down my nose at somebody because they can't read, but I'm going to try to do all that I can with my books and my plays to help people understand the importance of literacy. I only could thank my mother, who's no longer with us, in that little red chair that I had to sit in and read, and she listened. And when I got to a word that I couldn't understand, she would tell me to get the dictionary, and I would spell the word, get the dictionary, read what the dictionary said, and then she would compose a sentence, just like I was in school, but I was in my mother's bedroom. I'm glad that she did that. She seated my mind on the importance of knowing how to read. I was in prison for a while, different times. And I'm telling you something. I remember a story of a guy that couldn't read or couldn't write. And he had another guy to write the letters to his girlfriend. So I guess you know what happened to that relationship. He changed the conversation to benefit himself and not the guy whose girl it was. Here's a picture of my friend that I helped out in Alabama. She was in jail for 19 years for a drug charge. Geneva Cooley, she's out now. She fought, I helped her fight. I did some writing for her. And now she's back home in Queens. Free lady. Stanley Jones Clean Slate Project, everybody. It is about a think tank process to change the Corey law and its applications, because the Corey law is a law that keeps you bound by past mistakes. And so the Stanley Jones Clean Slate Project, and this is an image of this man who served time but then he got tired of going to jail, changed his thinking, along with this brother right here, Wilbur Brown, who has a program for men and working with men that are coming from incarceration. And together we are working on a think tank strategy to make people aware that we do change our thinking and change the way we live and become parts of a contributing society. Those last two men and that lady are about what I'm about, which is to educate, to empower, that we all make mistakes and we should not be held captive because we made those mistakes. In the state of Massachusetts, the Corey law, as it is applied, can keep you from getting an education, can keep you from getting housing, and can keep you from getting a job. We have struggled with this law, and we have gotten a little bit of relief, but not enough. They need to take that Corey law and change it or get rid of it. That's all. If we are living in a society that we call ourselves Christians, where's the forgiveness factor in this? Young people are placed in communities that are almost like concentration camps, with no encouragement to learn, with no jobs, with no skills, with high crime, with drugs, looking for the shortcuts, not being able to contribute because of their limited education. That's a setup. It costs more money to put a person in jail than it keeps to educate them. We need to look around and begin to look up and use the resources that are available to teach our young people that jail is not an option. Getting a Corey is not an option. Justice is not blind. Stop playing. We need to be able to protect our schools and the education that they give our children. Children are going to schools now, and a lot of the schools are crime incubators. They're not listening to what the teacher says, and the teacher doesn't know what she's saying because she's not getting any questions from the students, because it might be borderline boring. Take the Kuda book. In the prisons, they read it, they liked it. Take the Kuda book. Boys and Girls Club, Roxbury Boys and Girls Club, sent me a letter, sent me 2 letters, talking about the value of the book. The BASE program, teaching children baseball and education. They like the book. They like my books. More people need to read. More people need to read material that children are inspired or excited about, and more people need to be bilingual. That's what this program is about. It is about educating and empowering people and entertaining people. We got some people that are achievers, and because of the color of their skins, they weren't let in. Imagine Dr. George Washington Carver, who took the peanut that nobody wanted to be involved with, and out there in Iowa, in a school out there, as a botanist, and using plants and finding out and showing what these plants could be used for. And the peanut, you know, you like peanut butter, right? Okay, peanut butter and jelly. He took the peanut that was used primarily to feed the hogs. People weren't using peanut butter until Dr. Carver came about. They had him in a little room. You know, he wasn't with the other botanists. But then they learned his ability to teach about plants. Then they moved him in. We don't want that. We want to have the same opportunities as others have to learn. But for others that are not of our race or our culture to learn about us, they need to know about us by learning what we like, what we read, and then get involved with the culture. But right now, we seem to be separating ourselves instead of coming together to build strong communities. We can't have that, folks. If we're going to be surviving, we got to survive together, not one by one. There's no strength in that. I'd like to be able to get in a conversation with people and speak their language, and they say, well, who are you? What country are you from? I say, I'm from America. Oh, because like I said earlier, people from other countries prepare to come to the United States. Not only do they speak their language, but they speak American and maybe French or maybe another language, ending up with 3 or 4 languages to prepare them to live in the world. Imagine being in a country and you can't speak any language but American, and they can't speak any American. Boy, you won't enjoy that trip. Learning is very important. Reading to learn. Support the Veterans Reading Brigade. Support the work that we are doing in the community today with our books. Helping those that are called criminals make the leap across the bridge of doubt and began to step up, step out, demand and command. We're going to take a little break right now. We'll be right back. This is The Other Page Television. My name is Haywood Fennell. We'll be right back.
Walk with me, Lord. Walk with me.
The Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company, also known as OMFTPC, was established in 1997 by Haywood Fennell Sr. to introduce a needed response to the issues of cultural diverse population and understanding the importance of difference. The company is named in honor to the late Oscar Micheaux, who became a businessman and later a filmmaker. The company is comprised of an intergenerational cast of professionals and amateurs from the community. Some of the notables that were involved in the company during its 25 years of productions are choreographer Shaquan Reed, international gospel singer Marsha Lee, music producer, actor Leon Bill, educator, singer, producer Wanda Perry Joseph, former city councilor the late Chuck Turner, actor, singer, motivational speaker Aaron Wilson, Deborah Johnson Peters, and up-and-comer Sky Forts, and many, many more. The OMFTPC mission is to provide a safe environment to teach history, particularly the Harlem Renaissance era. Through theater performance, African American history is used as a script source material and is infused into every element of production. The OMFTPC also serves as an experimental community service learning platform for those interested in theatrical arts and those seeking professional careers in theater arts and related fields. These areas include, but are not limited to, stagecraft, vocal performance, stage management, ticket operations, property management, writing, set design, history, costume design and maintenance, as well as arts technology. We are encouraging your help to get the OMFTPC programs to the Boston Public Schools, sparking learning that our history is no mystery. The Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company's curriculum meets the required standards of the State Education Department. Please write a letter of support to the superintendent of the Boston Public School System, as well as considering making a donation to the Triad Veterans League at 1850 Washington Street, number 607, Boston, Mass. 02118, or you may call 857-204-5312 for more information. Your support in part will be for the development for the OMFTPC podcast series, Harlem Renaissance Descendants, Then and Now, which will teach and reach our youth. Thank you for your support for the OMFTPC, and you can visit them on the following sites.
Welcome back to The Other Page. Thank you so much for that intro to our program. You know, we're really happy about our continuum in terms of expanding and building this theater program. We're very serious about that. And so our good friend, former principal with us, Tyree Brown, that was his voice that you heard. And I'm so happy to say to you that since that time, we are looking forward to having some conversations with Berklee College of Music, the Department of Africana Music Studies, in a few days about how they can help us with our plan to expand and build a curriculum that will include dance and voice training. And one of the things that we want to do is to develop talent to the point that they would be able to go to different venues and perform themselves based on what they learned at the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company. It's really a confidence builder, and you know, when you're in entertainment and somebody puts you on the stage and the lights come up, and you got to know what to do. You got to know how to do your best, because that's what theater requires you to do your best. And so we're just trying to expand a community-based theater concept by creating this summer program for the Oscar Micheaux Family Theater Program Company. And we're really grateful to have this opportunity to talk and discuss with Berklee College of Music, the Department of Africana Music Studies, headed by Dr. Emmett G. Price III, a good friend of mine. And we want to educate, empower, and entertain our community, the 3 E's. We want to do that. And we can do that, and we will do that, but we need your support. So the next time you see the information that Tyree has provided you on the copy that you just saw, please write it down, you know, because we want to hear from you. You know, we are going to be at the Blackstone Community Center, 50 West Brookline Street. That is our home base. That is where we are on Thursdays from 6 until 8:15. On Saturdays from noon until about 3:30. We are there with our cast, and we'll be doing different things. But I'm really excited about the fact that one of the things in the area of curriculum development is that we have a veteran by the name of Will Smith, who is putting together a curriculum that will teach people that come to audition and don't make that cut. We don't want to send them away. What we want to do is involve them in theater technology, meaning the soundboard, the lighting, the set and prop design, things like that. We will be teaching that as well as you know, theater dynamics. We think it's very important that we become a self-sustained theater company, have our own technicians to provide the technical services that we need to raise the production values of what we perform. And that's not with everybody. They don't have this opportunity. Along with that opportunity is the opportunity that we have had with BNN Media to have now a video that you can see some of our performance, which has heightened interest in people coming to see us perform. And we are working on that, and shortly we will have dates that we will put on social media, put on our program, send it through the emails, so you will know that you can see us perform through a collaborative posture. And so I would be remiss if I didn't talk about our appreciation for the years of working with Stages Cultural Arts Center, even though they are now located with their home base in Randolph. They were the young people that you saw dancing just a few minutes ago, and they danced November the 12th and November the 13th at Roxbury Community College, where we paid tribute to our veterans by performing the 25th anniversary of the Harlem Renaissance Revisited with a gospel flavor. Of course, you know, you can't get to a good place by yourself, so we want to acknowledge them and thank their founder, Sophia Hayes Caldwell, for her being a collaborator and an innovative leader with our young people, because they do a lot of things. Stages, I mean, they've been down to New York City and danced on the stage of the Lion King. They were invited to come and dance, and they did. They've won in Canada. They won, of course, national. So they are really the one. You know, they care about their community as we care about our community, and we're partners. And so we are looking forward to doing some things in collaborative mode with stages as well as Berklee College of Music. We want to, speaking of music, we want to do some recording, we want to do some singing, we want to do some DVDs. You know, that's a part of what we're planning to do. You know, we're not going to just hold on to one play. We have 11 plays. We performed 3 other plays. One was on Zoom that turned out pretty good. Happy Birthday, Miss Harriet Tubman, about black women and voting rights. We did the Miss Marian Anderson's and Friends project. We performed at the Strand Theater in Dorchester. But right now we have a picture of a man by the name of Julian Abele. He was born in 1888. Look at him well. Look at his features, like he light-skinned, you know, straight nose, look like. But he was a black man, and he was an architect. He was an architect that worked on over 400 buildings in the United States of America. And there you see the inside of the chapel at Duke University in Durham, North Carolina. Duke University, you know, we hear all about the basketball and all of the sports that they have, but let me tell you, that chapel was designed by Julian, who you just saw, and he could not attend the ceremony. Look at that. He could not attend because he was a black man. See how people got things all messed up? He didn't care nothing about being black. He just wanted to design things. We can't allow people to play the skin game or the culture game because you speak with an accent, you know, or you come from another country, you wasn't born in America, your parents weren't born in America, and they want to hold you accountable and keep you from doing things. He didn't do that. I'm not going to do that, and you're not going to do that, right? No, we can't do that. We can't let them play us like that. Color game, language game, where you come from game, no. I'm the same. I can do if you allow me to do it and don't get in my way. And he didn't let that happen. He did over 400 buildings designed in the United States of America, and they all were great. Look at his work. They talk about Frank Lloyd Wright, but you don't hear about this guy. A friend of mine sent me that information. Look at that. Look, would you see that? Just imagine if they would stop restricting people from doing things and showing their greatness and using their talent. If you just remove the baloney, we could get something real done in this country called America. They're taking people at the borders and they pushing them back and saying that there's no room in America. But most of the people that live in America came from another country. Black people in America are the only people that came from freedom. We was free in Africa. Everybody else that was living in those other countries, they was being persecuted. And they was being shipped out. Cromwell in the Irish Rebellion is a good example of what I'm talking about. And you can read about that in my upcoming book, Oba and the People of Jai. We don't know our history. It is not a mystery, but it is something for us to learn. And the only way that you could learn is how we open this program, is being involved in literacy. Because if you can't read, you can't gain knowledge to move forward. And that's what this program is about. Sharing knowledge that can become wisdom when it is applied. It has to be applied for you to have wisdom. Knowledge, if you don't know how to apply it, does not become wisdom. And if you don't know how to read, then you don't know how to get wisdom, then you'll never be able to apply that which you need to learn. People will tell you they're going to play basketball or doing hip-hop, spoken word, that's all you need. That's baloney. You need an education. You need to be able to validate yourself for who you are, and the only way that you can do that is that you have to have skills, and skills come from doing things over and over and over again. Reading is such a skill. Like I said earlier, my mother in that little red chair that I had to sit in with the little dictionary. Kids don't do that now. They use a computer. And they don't have to read. They get a tutorial. That's not gaining knowledge. That's just getting information. And now they're talking about automatic information now. You got to be up on this. All of them talk about TikTok being this or TikTok being that. You got to use your noodle, your head, your brain. And we haven't been doing that enough. I bet you if cobwebs could get in your head, a lot of people here wouldn't be never cobwebs. You think it was an afro, it'd be cobwebs. You know, we got to really wake up and don't smell the coffee. Drink the coffee. Wake up. We're behind in everything when we can't read. When we can't know about Julian. He had to be smart. Did you see that building at Duke University? And because he was a black man, they wouldn't allow him to be at the ceremony to honor the opening of the chapel? Julian, you can't come. What do you mean? I designed the building. Well, Julian, this got a process here. The wrong color. But this is my building. No, it's our building now. He's sharp, too. I would like to have met him. But I got one for you, folks. I got one for you. You know, people are always talking about Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass, great orator, abolitionist, abolished slavery. He was down there in one of them places and where slaves were not supposed to read. Now, there's a penalty if you know how to read. Frederick Douglass took a chance. He watched his master write. And he learned how to read. And then got a piece of paper and wrote a pass. He wrote a pass. Left the plantation, eased on down the road, and when he got stopped, he just pulled out the pass that he wrote. Just say, this man has got permission to go further down the road. He wrote his own pass to freedom. Frederick Douglass did. He got down the road. Eventually, he became a free man. My question to you today, what pass have you written for your freedom if you can't read? Excuse me. If you can't read, you're not free. And we need you to be free. We need you to be able to stand and command and not be at the table, but at the table to make decisions about your welfare and our welfare, because right now we're on the table as in lunch. And we got to step up and get involved in our schools and in our programs and encourage each other. As you saw those young people dancing and the acting that was involved, all those people can read. They got to read scripts. Some of them make adjustments and write scripts. We got the theater company coming up this summer, and we're going to be working with BNN Media. We're looking forward to that. This collaborations to make one solid presence in our community that will move us forward. But you can't do it if you can't read. And there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of talent, but because they can't speak English or because we can't speak their language, we don't get the benefits. And by the way, Kuda and the Magic Quilt is in Spanish. We have it in Spanish. We have it in Braille. We have a teacher's guide for that book right there. 857-204-5312. That's our number. You know, we're just moving along, trying to get strong, be representing our community. Because our community right now, it's not being represented. Let me tell you something, right? You know, like I'm in the community. People know me. And they know where I stand on a lot of things, right? It's a sad situation when the school department closes a school and leaves our children in bad shape, knowing from their research about the impact of COVID over the last 3 years, the impact of what was going on before the COVID came about, the fact that they like this. They out of pocket. They're not straight like that. They want to close the the school called the Tillmany School. They want to close the Tillmany School, which is right down the street from Roxbury Community College. A big old school that has been able to teach, and students have been able to learn from the Tillmany School now, right down the street from Madison Park High. Why would you close that school knowing that we are behind, knowing that we need to raise the level of understanding and learning so that our children can really benefit from an education that is solid? Right down the hill you got Roxbury Community College getting ready to celebrate 50 years this year. 50 years. They run around saying, oh, we're going to celebrate 50 years. But right up the street, the Boston Public Schools is talking about closing a school building for what? For condo conversion? You put condos conversion over our children's education? You leave Madison Park down there, they need help down there. We need help everywhere in our schools. Call Dr. Skinner, the superintendent of the Boston Public Schools, and ask her and the mayor to rethink closing the Tillmany School, but instead put programs in there that our youth can appreciate. Use that stage and add cultural arts in a bigger way so that we will have more than one institution to deal with theater, culture than we have. We only have one over in the Fenway. We don't have anything in our community that consolidates the learning capabilities that our children have when it comes to culture and cultural development, which includes theater. Imagine that, closing the school so that you could maybe, I don't know, convert it for a condo? Don't we got enough condos? And people are not building houses that we can afford because we don't have the education or the money to live in condos that are converting all over the place? That's That's not valuing a people, that's devaluing a people. We're going to do more on that. We're going to try to get some people here on the other page television in a panel format to discuss how we build value, not devalue, especially when it comes to educating our people. We thank you so much for being here today to watch our program, and we hope that you got something out of it. I did. It's the new year now. I have the same plan. Power and educate. Power and educate. Educate through power. Educate through power. Read to lead. Lead to read. Those are my mottos now for 2023. And I hope that you will have a healthy, prosperous 2023, and that you will continue to support BNN Media and this program and our radio program, and more importantly, our veterans need your help. We are not pawns. We are people that have served our country, and we deserve to be served. This has been a great day for me. Again, I want to just say happy, happy, happy 23. And I'm going to follow up on that conversation that we need to have regarding the Tillmany School. Remember that. Just come in our community. They just come in our community, some people that probably don't even live around here, and say, hey, we're going to change your school situation. We're going to close down the Tillmany, but all these children that want to learn, kids over there in Mission Hill could be going in there instead of taking them and sending them out of their neighborhood. Build in our neighborhood the kind of people that can go out of our neighborhood and be proud because of the education that they have received in our community. Roxbury Community College needs our help, but Roxbury Community College needs to help our people more. That's it. Looking forward to seeing you when we hit the stage. Soon we'll get that word out, get that information out to you. We're not going to wait till Black History Month to do our performances. We're going to do them year out, throughout the year, in the community, and we want you to be there, supporting us, enjoying us, learning from us, how great we are as a people. My name is Haywood Fennell, and I have had the honor and the pleasure of being your host today, and I'm looking forward to the year working with you, working with this channel, and bringing to you information that you can use to grow and flow. We don't have time for anything else. We must work together because nobody is coming to save us. We must save ourselves. We must use the talents that God has loaned us to grow with, because it's tough, but it's not as tough as it can be if we don't prepare our youth and prepare ourselves at the same time to make the contributions and to wake up the people that we are great, that we can come together and make it happen. 23 is not 22. Don't look back, look ahead. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. God bless you.